real quick, has your expectation changed? Right. I want to pull back some of the things you just said, going back a minute or two. Mm-hmm. Yes, that first deal, like we all want to be on that podcast saying, oh, there's a perfect burr. I did this. Like, yeah. Right. Because that's what you hear. And so that's like the expectation. And it's the same thing. Like it's not reality. Right. It's not, nor should it be. So it's great. It's a great advice you just gave there. But now, selfishly, did your expectations start to change on this second property? We're like, this is easy. Maybe I could be able to pull out all my cash on this deal.
Absolutely not. Such a good point. Things never go as planned. And so I'll paint a picture of how it went on this second property once I closed. So I remember me being all young and naive and sending these letters as the, books tell you to do and saying, hey, I'm your new landlord. This is how you should contact me. This is how you should pay your rent. And I remember getting no response from pretty much actually every single tenant in that second property. And then the last tenant that I couldn't get a hold of, I ended up calling him like 10 times before he answered. And he answers his phone. I remember it so vividly. It's truly a huge wake-up moment for me in my real estate investing journey. And this guy answers the phone and he's like, is this Ben? Is this a fuck? Not to keep the language,
no, you're good.
PG, but as it was, this guy's like, is this fucking Ben? Are you the fucking owner of this piece of shit building? If I see your fucking ass around this fucking property, I will beat your ass so bad you will not be able to walk. Don't you ever fucking try and collect rent from me, ever. Hangs up the phone. And for further context of what I got myself into there. So this particular tenant was involved in a gang in the neighborhood, and I also found out was selling a lot of drugs out of his unit in that property, and couldn't get a hold of him. Didn't want to go by the property to collect rent or try to deal with him face to face. And I soon realized that, we were in a situation where we were in a eviction moratorium and still going through the thick of it with COVID and whatnot, being landlords. And essentially what I had to do, and Tom, huge shout out to you, because both of you have talked about this on the podcast. I remember specifically having a conversation with you, is go the cash for keys route, treat this like a business, remove your emotion from the equation. And after a lot of tough goes with dealing with this guy who was incredibly hostile, and pretty much every single conversation I had with this guy over the phone was A, threatening to beat the shit out of me or just take very violent action against me. B, being very blunt and stating he had absolutely no intention to move out whatsoever. And C, not being able to take action through the legal system for the foreseeable future due to the inability to evict was a humongous wake-up call for me.
Well, can I step back though? Were there any flags in the due diligence? Like you walked the building, your inspector went out there, you couldn't was there access issues? Did the seller in hindsight give you any signs that, man, I'm trying to turn upon my problems off of you? Like, no, there should have been things that happened early on that you weren't blindsided by that call.
1,000,000% Mark. And I think that I thought that I had to take on those headaches to get a good deal. And that's just what you had to do, is fix hard problems. But one, like you said, on the money, access issues. It was extremely, extremely hard. We had to reschedule the inspection and the final walkthrough actually before buying the property due to access issues for this property, or access issues to that unit and this particular tenant. Estoppel agreements, I don't know if you want me to go into that a little bit more as a housing provider tip, but I 100% should have had an estoppel agreement within the purchase price process.
Explain to our listeners, what is that?
Yeah, so an estoppel agreement is essentially a document where you look through you essentially state that all of the information provided on the tenant with regards to their ability to pay, their employment status, their lease, etc., is all factual. And essentially, like, if you want to go back after purchasing a property, if you get screwed over, essentially from what I understand, by the seller of a property due to non-factual statements due to a tenant that gives you problems, that holds up as a basis of fact in court. You know, and I don't know if y'all want to expand upon that, but it's a legal process and exercise that I've put into place on every other property I've bought since then.